Just about 24 minutes after the hour of 7 o'clock, welcome back to the Now Morning Show. Now, the agricultural sector was allocated $1.33 billion of the budget for fiscal 2022 to 2023, notwithstanding the call by governments across the Caribbean to reduce the region's food import bill by 25% by 2025. And so this morning, we're putting the focus on the agricultural sector with founder and executive director of Y-Farm, Mr. Alpha Sennon. Alpha, good morning.
Good morning to you and all viewers out there.
Yeah. I mean, if the people don't know who Y-Farm is by now, then they're under a rock. But for those who may not know, just give us a little overview about the company.
Yeah, sure. You know, Y-Farm is an NGO that pioneers agricultural, educational entertainment to ensure that our children, for starters, understand agriculture as a profession, understand that the role that they can play in us achieving food and nutrition security by the year 2030. You know, so we have developed several programs, several campaigns, several initiatives that really encourages our youth, our young people, to understand the importance of what they can do and how to do it by becoming agri-entrepreneurs.
Yeah. You mentioned youth as one of the major focus. Yeah. Tell us about some of the initiatives you have and how exactly you're getting the youth involved.
Yeah, so we have several things. We have the Agriculture Kids Camp that we roll out every July, August. We have the Agri-Man Adventures, which is the superhero characters using comics and cartoons, etc. Go around to schools and do tours, educating them, inspiring them, getting them to plant one tree and telling them they will eat for free because that will guarantee food security.
Yes.
We have the Agripreneur Mastermind program called Amp It Up, finding TNT's Next Up Agripreneur, and several other initiatives that we partner with different organizations to be able to make it happen.
Of course. As I would have mentioned, $1.33 billion was given last year. What did you see, or did you see some of the things that you were hoping to happen under that allocation?
Yes, but of course we need more, right?
Tell us.
But you know, yeah, we saw some things, but there's always room for improvement. I mean, a lot of training is happening via the Extension Division. I mean, via the Ministry of Youth. There's a lot of focus and emphasis on youth and agriculture. The YAP program, the Shade House program, the Aquaculture project. All this is really, really fine and good. However, a lot of the older farmers are feeling left out. You know, the older farmers are being like, you know, all the emphasis is on young people.
Yes.
While I understand where they're coming from, but definitely more investment, definitely in terms of education as well too, even for children as well. You know, the agri-science is kind of left out within the curriculum via the Ministry of Education. And I think that this is really left out, but there's not a big focus on it.
Yes.
You know, at the primary school level. Yes. Where climate change is concerned, I think that is where emphasis needs to be played in terms of understanding climate smart agricultural techniques. And this doesn't mean very expensive things. You know, a colleague of mine, Ms. Diane Francis, the head of ICA Trinidad and Tobago, she wrote a very good article saying that no soils should be left uncovered because of the excessive heat. We cannot do agriculture the same way we used to do it before, where you clean the land, clean. You know, because you're leaving the soil there to just get it heated, just get dry.
Yes.
That affects your crops, it affects your production, prices goes up. You know, so it's a whole cycle. So simple strategies that farmers has to learn and understand, but it must be disseminated to reach them, that they can understand, communicate it to them in a way that they can read it, see it, view it, and understand. These are some simple strategies that they can employ. So a lot more needs to be done where communicating these things to farmers is concerned.
You mentioned the older farmers feeling left out, but I know that to me, NAMDEFCO has them covered because I know that they have a lot of programs as it relates to getting them tech savvy so that they can be able to put their stuff online and that kind of thing. So is NAMDEFCO doing what they should do with the old farmers, or do you think more needs to be done?
NAMDEFCO is definitely doing a lot, that they can do. I mean, I'm also on the board of directors at NAMDEFCO too, but I'm not wearing that hat this morning. But yes, but NAMDEFCO is doing quite a lot, but there's only so much farmers that NAMDEFCO have under their purview.
Right.
You know, but there's a lot more farmers who are not registered, who doesn't have a farmer's ID, who doesn't have a farmer's badge. So sometimes they don't fall within the remits of getting training and getting the extension division to come to them, you know. So it's still finding a way to treat all farmers equally, you know, despite whether you have a badge or not, and of course getting farmers to get their badge as well too, it's still difficult, it's still hard. Land tenure is still hard. For us to really achieve that 25 by 2025, we have to make things easier. Yes, still above board, but make it easier in a way that people can access some of these things, your badge, land tenure, find a way to regularize lands, the ownership of lands, etc. Because we need food. We need food. I mean, the import bill still being very high. And budget after budget, we need to find a way to really reduce that import. Like, look, I'm thinking about, I'm seeing, I don't know if you ever tasted the rambutan fruit, you know?
And they're in season now.
They're in season now, so you're seeing it. You're seeing it everywhere. And it's tasting good. Like, we're supposed to be able to reduce the importation of grapes because of that, you know? And while there may be some fruits that are seasonal, we eat it while it's in season, but we need to keep the production going for these fruits as it comes. Guava, rambutan, you know, West Indian cherry. And these things have strong medicinal and nutritional benefits as well too, you know?
Of course. But do you think that is an attainable achievement, 25% by 2025?
You hear me say? Well, attainable, yes, but it cannot just be a talk. You have to really hit the ground running. The lands that we have that are just growing up in bush, we have to find a way to get it under production. We have a lot of the programs, like I even have at our farm, we have a few interns from the YAP program right now. They are training before they get their own land.
Right.
And of course, you know, you have the farmers who are upset about it because they're saying, we are up to now, we are farming for 50 years and we have the 1 acre land owned, you know. But I understand where the Ministry of Youth is coming from to get these young people and turn them into agropreneurs, you know, to face the next century or so. So I think it is attainable with the right strategies, of course. And again, agriculture can be done the same way it was being done 50 years ago. Climate smart agriculture has to be the way forward. Otherwise, we'll be under fierce decline in production.
Yeah. You mentioned some of the key areas as it relates to youth in agriculture, the YAP program, the Shade House, etc. Do you think more buy-in is needed from private sector?
Absolutely. You know, more public and private investment is necessary. You know, there's a lot of young people in this country who have developed innovations in the agricultural sector. You know, while we may have a lot of funding to start businesses, I often say that there's not enough funding to build these businesses and grow these businesses. When you travel across the world and you see people that develop something and in a year time they don't have a $1-point-something million investment to scale that up, that's something you will rarely see here. And these are innovations that is not just for yourself, but to really affect the public, to really affect your community and really help solve a problem, you know, whether it may be climate change wise, health wise, marketing of produce, you know, the distribution of goods and services, and all these are places on the value chain that need to be worked on. And there are solutions out there, but the investment from private, you know, needs to go into it in order to solve it.
Yeah. We've also been discussing this morning, you know, we can't use the old practices we were doing before because agriculture now is different. But I have seen some of the aquaponics in schools, right? Should we promote that as opposed to the integrated science we have been seeing, or is it both? Is it theory and practical that we need to blend together, especially as it relates to that curriculum in schools?
It definitely is both, because, but a lot more practical than theoretical, you know, because children want to be hands-on, and out of a class of 30, 5 or 10 of them might latch onto it, and they might be like, wait, that is what I want to do. And from right at that age where you get that inspiration, because the reason why we at Y-Farm target children, you know, the earlier ages from birth to 12 is the ages where you really help build your mind and your transformation in your minds and what you want to be when you grow up, etc. So, you know, so mixing the theory and the practical is important. And also mixing, I like to say IT meeting IT, indigenous techniques meeting information technology. We have to merge it. You know, we can't just run off and say, well, hydroponics is the way forward. It's one of the way forward, you know, because when you say that, I get offended because I'm a dashing bush farmer.
You know what going up in the bush and plowing the land.
I want to do that, and that's what I want to do. Yes, I do hydroponics as well, but I want to plant my yam and my dashing and my edos and my sweet potato. I know about doing it in hydroponics. I know how you can. So I'm saying that, you might find people who want to do this, some who want to do that, some who want to do the other, some who want to be in the soil, some who want to go in a shade house and a greenhouse, and that's fine, you know. So I think it's definitely merging it, the theory, the practical, finding the right balance, and this is where we could create change.
Yeah. Now, 1.33 billion last year to cover this period, and now we have the budget reading this evening. Tell us of what is a good slice of the pie for the agricultural sector, and what you're hoping are some of the things that are going to be addressed in this fiscal year.
Yeah, great. Good question. I mean, agriculture being the buzz. Like if you ask any young person right now, agriculture became a buzz within the past 3 to 4 to 5 years, you know. So because of this buzzing, and a lot of young people, even like when you think about the YAP program, the Youth Agricultural Homestead program, it's oversubscribed. They have, you know, they could only take 200 people. I can't quote how much people apply, but it's way more than 200. So that's what young people want to do. So why not just put the money there? We have the interest of the young people, so let's put the money there. I mean, a lot of the ministries, they get a lot of funding, and it's a very reactive approach to things there, not proactive. So I think taking young people off the streets, off the blocks, off of the gangs, agriculture can do that. You know, getting a young person growing something in the soil. That's a transformation there that can happen with their lives that you couldn't even imagine how, because the therapy behind it, the peace, the calm, everything behind it, it's very, very inspirational. So we need more. I don't know how much more, but we need a lot more. Yes. But of course, it's not just getting a lot more, but we have to have a plan, a strategy on how to make that work, and what we could do for our food security. We must have a direction. Are we planting breadfruit? You know, the person before that, the vendor, spoke about the doubles. You know, everything is imported.
Yes, yes.
So we really can't start to do breadfruit flour, yam flour,
but we're doing it already, flour. Yeah? Because remember, in Tobago, we have a sort of niche market, and people are doing those things.
We have to do it bigger,
on a grander
scale.
On
a grand scale. Yeah. And we have to now, you know, be able to give grants to do that, so that people it can now become an industry. You know, just as they have the typical wheat flour. You know, so a focus needs to be put, and that is where we could really see some sort of systematic change then.
Yeah. And how can we move the older farmers into modern times? Because you mentioned they're the older farmers who are under NAMDEFCO. Yeah. They're the older ones who are not under NAMDEFCO, and so they may not reap the benefits that there is. Yeah. We spoke about the land tenure, how they're looking at the younger ones, and they're thinking, but where's my parcel? Where's my parcel? Yeah. And so how can we get them into the 21st century and thinking, you know, sort of as a modern farmer to reap the benefits?
I think they must understand the value chain as well too. Because a lot of farmers think that, okay, I'm farming, so I can't do nothing else. You know, but they must be able to understand, they must get business training, to be quite honest. You know, because the one business that we have to agree with is agribusiness. So they must get some agribusiness training to understand, because they're good at farming, Yes, there are some little techniques and strategies that they could get more advice on based on the climate conditions of now. But, you know, the business approaches to their farm now will help them better. But we have to reach the farmers, meet them where they're at, you know. I'm an extension student, agricultural extension, and we have to be able to do farmers field school. That was a practice a long time, where you go to a farm, and all the farmers in that area come there and do a training and have a discussion.
Okay.
You know, those are things that we have to get back to. And yes, maybe we could do it virtual, I don't know, but you know, agriculture is a very hands-on thing now. You know, you had to come in the soil, you had to be there to experience it and learn from it and understand the pests, diseases, etc. But definitely things like farmer field school could be a good plus, and not just forget about the farmers who's not registered.
Yes, yes.
I think we just kind of just forget them.
Yeah.
But there's so many other people contributing towards our food. When you go to the wholesale market, to the farmers market, you see the face of the farmers, and those are the people as well that need support. Yeah.
And finally, before you go, we keep mentioning agribusiness, but what does it look like? Is it just selling in the market, or is it looking at a long-term strategy? This is where I want to see this going for the next 5 years.
So when we say agribusiness, it definitely is a long-term strategy. We have to be able to understand, how do I take this crop, from the crop to the shop, from the plant to the pack, from the soil to the markets, you know, understanding adding value. You know, how do you take pimento and turn it into a powder, but it's still healthy, it's still nutritious? How do you take you know, like dash it and turn it into flour and package it properly on the shelf. So we had to get our farmers understanding that and work with them towards achieving that.
Of course. Well, Alpha, let me thank you so much for joining us this morning. Very, very rich conversation. You see the word I use there, rich. Very, very rich conversation. Thank you so much for joining us
Thanks
this morning.
for having me.
Of course.
Yes.
And that, of course, is Mr. Alpha Sennon, youth advocate and business owner of Y Farm. And Alpha is actually my last interview on this show. Let me just thank you so much again for welcoming me, guys. This is my final show today, but thank you so much for everything. Thanks to my co-host and everybody. And we're going to take a quick break and be right back. Stay with us.